All right, well, welcome back, everybody, to a nasty, overcast, and cold winter day here in Florida. On today's agenda, we're working inside. I'm getting out of this weather. It keeps misting rain. Just one of those nasty days. And we've got to get ready for the tile guy. So if we come into the bathroom in here, I am not ready for the tile guy who just called and said probably in the next week or so, he's getting ready to come over. So long story short, we have got to put our valve assembly in the wall for our shower, mount our shower head, and hook up all the plumbing. Also, we need to do a pressure test. Anytime you break the system, you have to do a new pressure test, leak test, to make sure everything's as it should be. It's going to be relatively difficult to film in this such of a small space, but long story short, we're going with a Delta system, and I have a Delta shower cutoff valve right here. And according to the instructions, this plastic plaster plate, as they call it, is supposed to be flushed with your finished wall. Now that takes a little bit of figuring out because, well, we're nowhere near a finished wall right here. Now it does give some leeway. It says, depending on, there's two sets of instructions. One says this can be plus or minus 3/8 of an inch from a finished wall. The other one say plus or minus 1/4 of an inch. So we're going to go with the tighter tolerances. But basically, once you put your plasterboard or tile board on the wall, mine happens to be a 1/2 inch thick. I think that's kind of industry standard. So then you have your thin set that you spread across before you put your tile. So you have to take into consideration 1/2 inch thick tile board sticking out from the wall. Well, now we just brought this out. Then the thin set's going to add some spacing to your tile, then the tile thickness itself. Luckily, I already have my tile. I know it's 1/4 of an inch, so all I need to allow even further for is a thin set. So long story short, I'm going to have to come out close to 1 inch out from this wall. Now that's a problem. We need to mount this dead center. We're going to do it kind of high because this is just a shower. We want the knob up to where you can easily reach it, and we have nothing here to do that. So I'm going to have to start with spacing some blocking, attaching this. We want a nice solid surface to attach our valve body to, and then make sure I get the proper spacing off the wall. Sounds like we're going to go with about 1 inch. That's how I'll come up with that number right there. Now, one thing I should mention, we purchased a Delta valve assembly because you can actually get replacement parts. For something that's going to be, well, pretty much permanently mounted in the wall, you hope to never have to access this. Now's not the time to cheap out and buy some off-brand that I see all over Amazon and other places. So I want to make for sure that we got a good quality valve set. I've also mounted this right here for a specific reason, because in this other room, the laundry room, there is the washer box right here with the drain and the hose hookups. So if for any reason I ever need to access this, I can actually cut the wall out over there, build a decorative trim piece that can go across the washer box, and have something with a little door that opens on the other side, and always have access to this should I have to change this out. I also decided to screw in from the inside to this blocking. Took the screws out that you just seen me install on the other side, so if I ever have to take this blocking out, take this whole assembly out through the wall that direction, because it's much easier to cut through and build a decorative piece behind the washing machine over here through sheetrock than it is to bust all your tile out of your shower to try to access this and make any cuts or connections. I should also mention the only way that I can find these adapters to go on this, I looked at all my local hardware stores, was to neck it down to 1/2 an inch. But looking at the size of the hole in here, that won't be a problem. All my plumbing is 3/4, so you're going to see me step down to the 1/2 to use these adapters. But it's my understanding, whenever you have a large 3/4 inch line feeding the majority of the home, that provides your volume. When you neck down, it provides your a step up in pressure. And if you have a large line going almost to your fixture, you're getting that flow that you need. All right, so I just installed what's called a drop ear, and it's for this piece right here. Now we're gonna have a very large and heavy shower head right here. It's actually gonna be in this direction. So I wanted to make sure I got a drop ear with screw-in tabs right here instead of just using an old weak piece of PVC, because there's a lot of weight on this. Now this may support it for the life of the shower, but that's putting a tremendous amount of stress on this piping and this fitting, having all this leverage out here. The other nice thing about this shower head right here, it has this snap-in wand is what I call it. And the reason that's nice is because, well, we have a little dog that will most likely bathe here in the shower. So it's nice to take that wand out and be able to bathe the dog down there in the bottom of the shower. The other nice thing about it is because this shower has the cutoff valve in the back, the last thing anybody wants to do is get in the shower, go to turn your water on, and you get blasted with this cold water right here. Can't stand it. That's why a lot of people start installing shower valves on the outside of the shower. Now, me personally, I like to be able to adjust my temperature while I'm in the shower. I do that a lot because I do not like hot showers. But the beauty about taking this snap out wand is this particular Delta faucet head right here, or shower head, has the option of running just the big head, just the wand, or all of them at the same time. Now, the beauty about having just the wand is I can come in and flip to just the wand, point the wand in the corner of the shower, turn the water on, and then whenever I get the temperature that's desired, then I can put it in and allow that to come on me. So that's nice and comforting there. So one thing I am concerned about is this big old heavy shower head and all the stress that it's going to put on this joint. So I'm going to go ahead and screw this in. Then I'm going to put another piece of blocking in right here. Now the beauty of that blocking is it now supports this shower head further out, or this pipe, taking a lot of the stress off of that joint right there. So you're going to see me put blocking in front of this, attach it to these sides. I think that's critical. Otherwise, eventually you're going to break something having this in there. You really are. As people take the wand off and really pull down on this, that risk is there. All right, so now what I'll do is screw that into the drop here. I went and cut me a piece of blocking, and I'm going to wedge it right up to that pipe. That way it can always be unthreaded and changed, but if I don't have the blocking there, as you see there's some flex and the pipe is actually moving. But as soon as I push this blocking up, and once I attach it, now there is just a lot less leverage on this joint. This blocking will make a heck of a difference. All right, so now that the system is complete, I'll need to pressure test it. Anytime you make a break in a system, you have to pressure test. So maybe a little rig here. I've got like a 2-inch pipe nipple. I actually put me a water cutoff valve right there for 1/4-inch pipe. You could actually use this to go to, say, an ice maker. And that will allow me to purge the air out of the system and run water all the way up to here. Because if we have just a very small leak, well, you may not see that. You can watch a pressure gauge, but it may not show. But if you have water all the way up here, and I've purged all the air out of this as I fill it up from a different location in the house, you'll eventually start seeing that water that shows up quickly. All right, so now I'll take some old ice maker hose that I had laying around, hook up to this, and I'll run this pipe down to my sewage so I can purge the air out, and when the water comes, I don't make a mess in here. It'll actually go down the drain. All right, well, we are set up, ready to go. Our hot and cold water lines are hooked up, and our riser pipe up to the shower head itself is ready to go. So better safe than sorry. I'm marking off where my septic tank is and putting up a perimeter so where nobody can drive into the drain field. We've had a very bad problem of delivery trucks and people that are visiting driving through the yard instead of using the road. And now, if they come through this area, they're either going to run into a septic tank or cave in a drain field, because it's going to take quite a while for this ground to actually pack out. And our septic tank is right there, literally about that far beneath the surface. A lot of y'all have asked, what am I going to do? Should I put risers on there and mark it? Do some sort of landmark out there? What I'm thinking we're going to do, if we can make it look good, is put an actual flower bed over the tank itself, spread out a thin layer of mulch, because let's face it, with that much dirt, grass is probably not going to grow good right there over a concrete tank. And we may put a bird bath right here if we can tie all that in to the pool and deck that we're going to do out here and make it look good. It'd be nice to know in the future, anytime we need to access the septic tank and get it pumped, that hey, right where the bird bath is, there's a lid on either side. Rake some mulch back, grab the handle, lift the lid up. Very easy access. Now, as far as the drain field goes, we're just going to have to get creative in the future. I'll definitely listen to any suggestions that y'all have on what we can do to kind of mark that out. I really don't want to put a fence or anything out here, but I need to come up with some creative way to kind of mark that area off so people don't cave in my drain field in the future. Okay, so I figure while I'm rained in today and it's nasty outside, I got a little bit of time left. I'm gonna go ahead and install our laundry room cabinets. Now these we actually picked up from Lowe's. Tiffany and I were in there shopping one day, happened to walk by the cabinet section, and there was a whole, looks like somebody ordered an entire set of kitchen cabinets. Maybe they didn't pick them up, pay for them, whatever. And there was clearance stickers everywhere on these cabinets. Originally they were, I think, $169. Then there was one clearance sticker on it showing $123. And then they had just put a recent clearance sticker on this for $80. So we figured, hey, $80, we'll pick up 2 of these cabinets, put them above our washer and dryer for soaps and cloths and things like that that you use in your washer and dryer. Now, I will say, it looks like it's cheap old particle board, which I swore I'd never have in my house. I definitely do not want it in our kitchen, but up and out of the way right here, it shouldn't come in contact with moisture. We picked them up. We've actually had these for a while, even before we did our Lillian cabinet order. We picked them up because they were $80 on clearance, but I can already tell, looks like I got what I paid for. All right, so this is one of those situations where we got to step back and punt. As you can see, it's a new day, and I stopped. As soon as I got this hung, I immediately knew this was just too high. We knew that going with 30-inch cabinets, they were going to be high. So what I did is I brought Tiffany out here. We took some measurements of the washer lid opening up. We got plenty of room to play with here. And she decided she wants me to put trim at the top of these cabinets, just like we did in the kitchen. So I went out and actually bought a brick molding, what's designed to go around doors. It's a really thick trim that'll drop these cabinets down a couple of inches. Doesn't sound like much, but that really helps reaching the next shelf or getting further in. So I'm about to pull these back off the wall, lower them down to where we can put a 2-inch brick molding trim up there. Like I said, traditionally it's used for doors. I think it's gonna look just fine for this case. And the reason I went with that brick molding trim, it's really thick, so it'll give nice support up top when I go to put this up, instead of having to fool around with a crown molding or something like that. Now we could drop this down even more and leave a gap above the cabinets, but we both kind of prefer the look of a cabinet touching the ceiling, so we're still gonna go with that. All right, so this is that brick molding. Like I said, typically it's not used for an interior application, But this big flat base is gonna be perfect for whenever I'm pushing the cabinet up. This will sit on top, and it just gives it a little bit of flair with that decorative cut up top. So I'm just gonna cut me a short piece that I can use as a block and a gauge. All right, so I need to attach both these cabinets together to close this thin gap up. I think the way I'm going to do that is to remove one of these hinges, and then I can pre-drill a hole through this side, not go into this one, shoot a screw through and sandwich these together. Then when I put the hinge back, that screw is actually hidden. That closed the gap up mostly. All right, so that is one more project off the list. I think it turned out nice. It's still going to be several inches above the washer lid opening up, but with me standing here, even spaced away out from the washer and dryer, I can still get up to the second shelf, no problem. If we want to go all the way up to the top shelf, we're just going to have to grab a little stool. That's also the same case in the kitchen. As far as the trim turned out, this is my first time ever using brick molding inside of a home. But it looks really good. It gives just enough detail and look up there that you can see some trims going on. And like I said, it dropped the cabinets down an additional 2 inches, which makes it nice and convenient for us to reach into. All right, so I have been knocking stuff out left and right. It's a lot of stuff I've even done off camera because, well, it's just boring. Just went ahead and put my last piece of trim up in the kitchen to fill that corner gap on the kitchen cabinets. I also jumped out here on the tractor while I was waiting on paint to dry in here. Got all the dirt smoothed out in the yard. And trying to get a nice layer up here so we can get some grass seed to take root here in a couple months once springtime comes around. This old white sand that was hauled in just doesn't have much nutrients. So I've been taking some of this more rich stuff off the property. I'm kind of blending it in up here. I'll smooth all this out a little more later on. And we'll overseed all this with grass seed here before long. So yeah, knocking things out slowly but surely. Tomorrow is my last sunny day for the week. So we're going to do something outside. It's either going to be siding or gutter pipes. Don't forget, we got that episode coming up. I'm going to show you all the way I'm going to get the water away from the yard and where we're eventually going to park out here. We're going to pipe it downhill. Then we have another cold front rolling in. They're calling for some nasty rainy days. So we're going to jump back inside. We've got a ton of work that we can do in there. So a lot of videos are coming. Y'all take care. Thank you so much for watching.